Yes, yes, we've arrived at week 12 of the spreads. Myself and my co-host Mike here are still looking to improve on a fairly dismal year so far, but there's been a bit more hope as we take a look at the log standings here. I notched 9 in week 11. Mike at 50% there with 7.
Yeah.
Doing me in a couple of the primetime games later. Otherwise, I would have had a very good week. But yeah, 41% for the season on me. Your teeth around 45. We're improving slowly. We might yet get to 50 on the year, but it's been a rough year still.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you got yourself in a real pickle there between weeks 2 and 4, but you've been on a bit of a charge lately, so that's always good to see. I maybe have been a touch more consistent, but it
Yeah.
hasn't been great. So yeah, hopefully looking for a bit more of a. We need 2 or 3 solid back-to-back weeks over 50%, and then we'll be back in the running.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, we started with a difference of opinion on the Thursday night spread, Mike.
Yeah, a bad start for me. I'll
Yeah,
just
worked in my favor. But yeah, we'll get up and we'll just give a brief recap here.
Yeah, well, so the Bills headed down to headed down to Texas. They're a 5.5 point favorite because Davis Mills was starting again, covering for the injured CJ Stroud. I thought the Bills would have enough here, but the Texans defense was ferocious. It was frustrating to watch because of all the injuries and the penalties. But when the game was actually going, it was actually a fascinating watch because that Texans defense looks incredible.
Yeah, they might yet ride that to a playoff spot, it looks like, because you just can't seem to pass the ball on them with some of their corners as well. I think the Bills' deficiencies at receiver coming to haunt them there a little bit. And yeah, I mean, the underdog seemed to cover in a lot of these Thursday games. I didn't think the Texans would be able to win it, but they proved me wrong as well and got the handy cover there.
Well, you're seeing it on the screen now. 8 sacks on the day of Josh Allen. Deary me. I think they said on commentary in that game last year when those two teams played, he was 9 of 30 as well and got sacked a load. So yeah, they've clearly got Josh's number.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
factor that
Davis
in.
Mills is playing okay as well, actually.
No, he did.
As he came in, and he's won all 3 games he started this year, so they're on a real uptick, the Texans.
I thought he was quite an intriguing prospect coming out of Stanford, actually, Davis Mills. He's a big,
Mm.
big physical thrower of the football. He just was very injury prone in college, didn't really get a run together, but he looks like a decent NFL quarterback. Yeah, might
Yeah,
be some interest in him on the off season with the young
mm.
quarterbacks all struggling. Um, all right. So obviously we'll give you the honor here, as it is your beloved Kansas City Chiefs hosting the
Mm.
red hot Colts. Fair to say this is a defining game in the AFC, Thomas.
Yeah, it will be, and I'm going to leave no doubt here as to who I'm going to pick. I'm going to take the Colts to cover this 3.5 because
Baby.
I think that spread should be a little closer actually. The Colts might feel a bit hard done by coming in here as 3.5 point underdogs. And until the Chiefs show some consistency as a rounded football team, I'm not sure I'm going to back my own guys to cover the 3.5 here. I think the Colts like to run the ball, which will actually play into our favor because the strength of our defense has been stopping the run this year. It's been when the ball's been thrown that we've had our troubles there in the secondary, and not really manufacturing much of a pass rush with our front four. However, that's not the specialty of the Colts. But I do just think with some of the mishaps and misfires we're seeing from Mahomes, the Chiefs not really getting our own running game going, and the Colts have a good run defense. It could be a Mahomes kind of game where he's got to throw it 25, 35 times and maybe a couple picks here for the Colts defense. So all that being said, I think the Chiefs get maybe a late field goal win here. Well, I mean that we really need to. It's lose and win or go home time for the Chiefs. So I'm going to predict Chiefs late field goal win here.
Yeah, that's funny. That's my thoughts exactly. I'm going to take the exact. I would take the exact same score line. The Chiefs win on a walk off field goal from Butker here. I think the Colts will keep it very close, very contested. But I just think this is where champions sort of stand up and be counted here. The
Mm.
Chiefs are obviously a championship team still. I just think they've been getting the offensive pieces back together. I know it hasn't clicked immediately in the way that a lot of Chiefs fans would have liked it to have done, but yeah, I think they're finding something interesting with Kareem Hunt here as well. The injury to Isaac Pacheco really opening the opportunities up for Kareem Hunt to play just very downhill physical running, which is
Yeah.
a nice new element to this Chiefs offense, which I think they'll lean into in this game. So yeah, it should be a really good one. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, even with the even predicting a late walk-off isn't given these days, given Butker's kicking
Mm.
woes as well. So yeah, definitely going to be a tight game.
Right. I think this one is going to be a huge line. It is.
This
Uh,
is the biggest, actually joint biggest of the week. This one, yeah.
yeah. Um, Obviously, Dart being out is suboptimal for those of us that would want to take the Giants here, just on instinct, because it's just too big of a line. That would really make it. Obviously, it wouldn't be that big if he was playing, but I still think it would be fairly large. I, I I am going to take the Giants here just because the Eagles really handled the Lions,
Yeah.
and I just don't think this is as complete of an offense as we've seen in previous incarnations of the Lions. Probably more due to the play calling than the personnel. But speaking of personnel, Sam Laporta's gone out on IR now. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
big miss for them. The amount of 12 personnel they like to play. So and I think the Giants' defense is. We saw it last week against Green Bay. They're incredibly frisky. I don't expect the Giants to win this game, but I do expect them to keep it to a touchdown, maybe 10 points, which would obviously be a comfortable cover. So yeah, I'm going to take the Giants here.
Yeah, I'm going to differ and take the Lions to run them. I think the feel-good factor of the coaching change for the Giants maybe influenced a bit of their positive play last week. But I think with Dart and Scatterboo out, I mean, God, there's really nothing on offense. So as bad as the Lions can be sometimes on defense, I think they'll just smother them here and get out with like a 20-point win or something. Honestly,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, I
Well,
mean, I felt the same way watching them against the Eagle. Dan Campbell calling plays. Look, he looks very uneasy out there. It just doesn't look natural at all. He's like on the headset and stuff, and like look at his sheet. I just don't think that's a good use of his time there. But having said that, Giants are one of the worst teams with those two out, so I'm gonna back the Lions to get it done.
well, fair enough. That does actually add some interest to that game for me because we see it very differently. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, going on the one of us is going to be drastically wrong there, so that'll be quite interesting. Um, all right, Steelers go into Chicago to face Da Bears.
Mm.
Um, Bears
God.
is a 3 point home favorite. Goodness me, how times have changed.
Mm.
Start of the season, the Bears wouldn't be a favorite against a winning team. What do you reckon? This is a oh, hang on, Aaron Rodgers is
Aaron
inactive.
Rodgers is out.
Oh,
Aaron Rodgers is out. Goodness. So who starts for them?
the long-time backup. Come on, Rudolph Mason, the boy Mason.
Oh God. All right, Bears for me then. I was a bit wary of the Bears, but yeah, that news has really done it for me. Yeah, the Bears have been surprising. I didn't think they'd be a 7-3 football team at this time of year, so they're doing something right, and they just find ways to win these games. So yeah, I'm going to just take them to get the job done over the Steelers, whose kind of momentum from the early season is really running out the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's killer. Rodgers being out. The Bears are down all three of their starting linebackers, which does mean the Steelers will probably look to thump the ball here in the running game, which could actually be very effective. But I agree with you. I just think the Bears seem to have got some momentum. They're still very hit and miss on offense. They can be inspired, and then they go through these long stretches with self-inflicted penalties and mistakes really cost them. So they'll need to clean some of that up as we round off towards the playoffs. But I think they should have enough to beat a Rogerless Steelers squad here by more than a field goal. You'd certainly hope so if you're a Bears fan. It would be a pretty bad omen if they don't. It means it would probably start looking like they wouldn't be much of a threat in any NFC playoff encounter.
Yeah. Well, they're somehow top of the NFC North. Did not
Yeah,
expect that. It's
well,
insane.
quite. And obviously, these two teams would have fancied themselves to be way out in front of the Bears by this point of the season.
Mm.
Um, is it me to go first?
Yeah, it's your honor on the
Yes, it
six
is.
and a
Yeah.
half point.
Yeah, so Packers game was really interesting. I thought I only saw snippets of that game against the Giants last week for the Packers because it was so low scoring. It didn't come up on red zone very much. And my outside impression was that the Packers must have been awful. And actually, when you go back and watch the film, Jordan Love actually played inspired football in that game. He just had a lot of drops and a lot of mistakes from the Packers, but none of it was really Jordan Love's fault. So that's encouraging for them. He seems to have not got any lingering effects from that injury sustained last week. JJ McCarthy looks like an absolute mess at the moment. He pulled the Vikings back into that game last week with an inspired throw at the end, but finishing the day way under 50% completions, going up against this Packers defense that has given NFC juggernauts like the Eagles plenty of problems. You just think I'm quite happy taking the Packers at home here. I don't think the Vikings are a very good football team. Rounding out now towards the end of the season, I think the defense, maybe people have started to get a bit of a bead on Brian Flores from last year, and yeah, the quarterback play is just nowhere near good enough. So I'm happy to take the Packers here.
Yeah, it is interesting. Just because Jim Harbaugh says he's the best quarterback he's seen in college, maybe shouldn't influence people's decisions, but I think it did somehow on McCarthy. Because if he was the best quarterback, he would have thrown it more, surely. So it is, yeah. I was, yeah. I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If the Vikings, if you keep Darnold, but he just does the same thing, it's hard to tell what could have happened, but it is haunting them. I'm going to take the Vikings to cover though, because they covered this spread earlier in the year against the Packers when they were also underdogs. And yeah, I just like him to do it again in a close divisional game. The Packers aren't a team that beats people by a lot. Like you said,
No.
they're struggling to get their receivers going, particularly Matthew Golden, who's been a ghost for them, first round receiver. I don't know what they're doing with him. So yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings to cover this one. I think if the Packers win, it'll be a field goal win. So take the Vikings.
Yeah, no, it's admittedly it is a gamble for me because they haven't really beaten anyone handsomely this year. But I just feel like it's coming for the Packers. I think they might start to put this together now.
Yeah.
Um,
Here's
this
a grande spread.
yeah, this is an interesting one because the Seahawks were terrible last week.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, odd for them. I think this Mike McDonald's incredible road record might have factored into this spread. I think they've won like almost all their games on the road during his tenure, which is bizarre.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just trying to look and see the last couple of Tennessee games we've had. I think the Titans covered last week. Um,
I think they did.
they covered against the Texans last week, and then they got a rogue cover in week 9 as well, against the Chargers. So the Titans have started covering some of these spreads. I'm going to take them to cover at home here, 12 and a half. I just think that since the coaching change, they've probably played a bit better overall. Ward's still struggling there, but he hasn't got much to throw it to. So I just think they're going to do enough to keep this tight. And it's just there's a lot of big spreads this week, and some of these underdogs have got to cover. You thought the Giants would cover the Lions, so I'm going to take the Titans here to cover the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to take both of these big underdogs to cover, actually.
Mm,
I'd normally like to chop it up and split them up and just take one of them. But
yeah.
I'm going to gamble a bit here. I'm a bit spooked by that Sam Darnold performance last week. Now, admittedly, the Titans won't be able to get anywhere near the kind of pressure on him to maybe force some of those errors. So I do like the Seahawks to come back, bounce back, and win this game. They're still a decent team that will be an NFC playoff team. So I think they'll win. I just don't think they'll win by 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I'm going to take the Titans here as well.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that actually.
Yeah, watching them last week. I never felt the Titans were in any trouble of getting blown out there by the Texans.
No.
That's given me some confidence in them, even if they don't have much in themselves. Right, Jets
Well,
at Ravens. Obviously, this is another monster. Tyrod to start at quarterback. You have to say it. I was wrong on Fields. I thought he'd be a good pro, but that is just not going to work out now. I think that's the last
yeah.
you're going to see of Justin Fields as a starting quarterback in the NFL for a very long time, at least. Anyway, you'd have to have like a Sam Darnold kind of transformation.
Yeah.
Um, oh, goodness me. I can't take all of these underdogs to cover. Um, the Ravens are in great form now. They've got Lamar back. They're on a bit of a run. Just give me the Ravens here. I think there's a lot of bickering on the sideline for that Jets team. I think the Aaron Glenn experiment might be a one and done as head coach as well. So I wonder if the wheels are slightly coming off there. So I'm going to take the Ravens. I don't feel good about it. I'd expect the Jets to cover normally here, but they've just been completely anemic on offense. And the Ravens will put up 30, you'd have thought, in this game against that now depleted Jets defense. Quinnen Williams going straight into Dallas and tearing it up on his
Yeah.
debut. Just in time, just getting him ready to face the Eagles today. Excellent. Love that from the Jets. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, talking of players being a ghost, I don't know where he was the last 2 years. His
I
his
just think
pass win rate had been declining year on year every year he'd been in the league.
you love that. You love that stat. You quoted
It
that
was
stat
great.
last week. It was,
Yeah, I just thought it was hilarious.
yeah. Well, he was an absolute menace last week for the Cowboys. So yeah, he
Oh,
clearly has to be motivated to play. But he wasn't, and that's the problem with the Jets, right? They just
yeah.
they don't look like a cohesive, motivated football team. So, and this is just the season again. This is a bit like the Chiefs with the Ravens, who were also 5-5, and we were talking about. I just think the Ravens have got the experience of getting to a lot of AFC Championship games, and they just know they have to put their foot down now, and they might blow the Jets away.
Yeah, this is a nasty game for the Jets to go to. Not the greatest stadium outdoors there. It's going to be cold in Baltimore. Yeah, I feel like they don't want a part of that. I'm going to side with you there and take the Baltimore Ravens minus 13.5. I saw them live last week. Obviously went to the Browns Ravens game down
Of
here.
course.
And they were just sleepwalking. But when they actually wanted to score in the second half, they pulled it out. That was a divisional game, so it's always going to be close. Yeah, I just think this one is not going to be anywhere near that troublesome for them, and they'll get the cover.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Jets don't have Miles Garrett as well, which
Yeah.
is Lamar will be very pleased about that. He was getting absolutely harassed last week. Um, right, this will be another monster, won't it? God,
It's not as big as I thought, this one.
7.5.
Yeah, I'm going to side with the Bengals here in a rogue Cincinnati cover. I just like them at home. I feel like the Patriots have got to drop a couple of these games down the stretch, and as much as they've probably been the most impressive comeback of the NFL this year, I still think it's a bit rich to make him 7.5 points. Favorites on the road. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking either, but I feel slightly more comfortable taking Cincy here and just hope Flacco can make a few huge throws downfield to the receiver and cover this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. I'm not happy about it with Jamar Chase being suspended for this game. You'd think they
Ah,
can
I
just,
forgot that. Yeah.
yeah, you'd think they can just get Gonzalez man to man on Higgins, and that will basically shut down the whole Bengals offense if Burrow doesn't play, which is a very real concern. But I still think it will end up being closer than clearly the bookmakers think here. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I've just got this nagging feeling. They're saying Burrow is questionable. There's no way he's playing. That's just a
No.
that's a misdirect. But as you can see here, Flacco's played nicely, so that should be enough to keep them around and hopefully. Well, even if the Patriots win by a touchdown, we've covered, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't really talk about the Patriots much there, but I feel like we've waxed lyrical about them the last few weeks. So
Yeah.
I don't feel any at this point. Drake May's playing out of his mind, so
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
nothing needs to be said. Nothing more needs to be said. Um, all right, Jags at Cards. Again, this is another team where the Cardinals 3-7. They have played better than that, and they haven't quit.
Yeah, no,
Amazingly, they haven't quit on Gannon yet. I thought they might have thrown in the towel by now. They
no,
keep
they're against the
gone.
spread. They're 50% on the year as well, so they
Mm,
haven't done badly on the spread either.
no, quite. And I don't think the Jags are a 6-4 football team, personally.
Well, the
Uh,
Jags are very Jekyll and Hyde. I really
yeah,
don't know what to make of them.
yeah. I would be a bit. I actually would be slightly concerned if I was a Jags fan because very much looks like the same team as when Doug Peterson was there. You just didn't know
Yeah,
you didn't know which version of the Jags was ever going to turn up week to week.
yeah.
And I feel like that's still the case, which is a little bit concerning with the coaching change. So yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I think they've lost a lot of close games, and they still seem to be playing really hard. And they are at home. And as I say, I don't think the Jags are that good. So I just think the Cardinals might sneak a win here. So yeah, give me the Cards.
Yeah, week 11, the Jags thumped the Chargers in a very bizarre game. But that's what I mean. They just can't you can't get a handle on them. They lost to the Texans the week before, and then they got destroyed in that international game before that.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe it's time for them to get destroyed again. Hmm. No, I'm going to
Cardinals.
differ. I'm going to differ. I think the Cards aren't a good team. I think the Jags are just a better team. As much as it annoys me to say it, so I'm going to take the Jags here. I don't feel good about this one though, but we'll add a bit of jeopardy to this game.
Uh, Fair enough. I respectfully disagree. I actually don't think the Cardinals are that much of a worse team than the Jags. I really don't think the Jags are very good. So we'll find out though. We'll find out. We'll put that theory to the test.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean Jake Briskett's playing at QB still. You feel he can only take him so far before he has a real stinker. So maybe it might be this week.
Indeed, yeah, could be. Um, right. Well, I'm going to. I know what I'm doing for this one. It's your honor, but I know what I'm doing on this one.
I'm taking the Browns to cover this one.
You
I
are.
don't know.
Oh,
I don't know what you
goodness.
were thinking, but we might be on the same page here. I feel, but I think the Raiders are the worst team in the NFL at the moment. Um, they have no identity with what they want to do on offense. Ashton Genty rushed the ball 6 times against the Cowboys, and they're just kind of bereft of anyone apart from Crosby. So I feel like get some double blocks there on Crosby for the Browns, and Shador might be able to get cooking here because the Raiders don't have much else to offer. I'd say the Browns to win this one.
Um, I'm now. Yeah, I was. Shador was awful last week, like truly terrible. Completely, looked
Yeah,
way too big for him.
yeah,
Um,
no,
he played exactly like he played at Colorado, which kind of is kind of the vibe you get from him that he probably doesn't take coaching well if it's not his daddy coaching him. So uh, the problem is though, as much as I want to be like, oh, the Raiders will win this, they're at home, and I've got no faith in Shador being a viable NFL quarterback. This Browns defense has been sensational this year, and Miles Garrett is defensive player of the year. It's not even close. Don't give me any of this Micah Parsons chat. Miles Garrett has been in a league of his own this year. And I don't think the Raiders don't have a single player that can block Miles Garrett. It's going to take three. They're going to have to chip him twice on the way into the backfield, and that just destroys your offense when you have to do things like that.
yeah,
And they've been poor when they haven't had to do that. So I think this will be what's the yeah. See the points is
well,
36 and a half. Yeah, I mean,
we struggle to get to that.
yeah, I think we'll struggle to get to that. I think this will be like a 10-7 game
Yeah,
either way. And that would obviously get me the cover. So I'm going to take the Browns as well.
nice. No, I feel pretty good about this one. Actually, thought it might be a little closer to the line, but I think it seems all these lines this week, bar a few, have been pretty big.
Shador scares the hell out of me, though. He just does not doesn't look like
No,
he has it.
it's
But we'll
yeah,
see.
it's one thing I suppose coming when it's like -2 in Cleveland as opposed to the heated stadium there in Vegas after a week's practice with the ones. So I don't know.
I
Well,
know.
you got a bank that it'll be better.
drifting in the pocket though and staring at the pass rush and
Oh,
oh,
I was watching it as you know firsthand.
yeah,
It was bad.
it's scary stuff. Yeah, he's gonna get himself killed playing like that. To be honest, Falcons at Saints.
Oh my God, who'd want to bet on the NFC South? Jesus.
I really, I just don't know. I don't know. I mean,
No.
can Cousins? I mean, he spot started earlier in the season and was terrible.
Hmm.
Um, I really haven't seen much of Tyler Shook. I don't
It
really know.
hasn't been good.
Yeah,
What's on tape so far has not been good.
God, I don't know. This is a complete coin toss. I'm going to go with the Falcons, purely because I don't think the Saints can move the ball like Bryce Young moved it last week, which is an incredibly impressive performance from Bryce Young. Didn't see that coming. Um, and I think Kirk Cousins will get the offense moving just enough. And I think the Saints are, for the first time in about 15 years, they actually are leaning into a full scale rebuild. And I think they look like that kind of football team this year. So I'm going to take the Falcons. I'm really unhappy about it.
Yeah, I'm more happy about it. Actually, I'm going to side with you. Take the Falcons. Best player on the field is seven for the Falcons, Bijan. And I just don't see the Saints being able to stop him. The Saints strike me as a team who are going to miss a lot of tackles. You might question the effort at this stage. And that's a problem if Bijan's going to get the ball 20, 25 times, which is all the Falcons need to do. So I'm going to take the Falcons to win this one by a touchdown, I think.
Oh, goodness. Oh, baby. Big win.
Oh, I need some time to think about that. It was good that you went first because when I pondered it a bit, when I Christian pondered it,
Yeah.
um, the answer came to me.
Oh, lovely. Well, it's always nice to have a Christian sometimes. Just gives
Yeah.
you extra,
Oh, here we
extra
go.
shot.
You're the birds. I'll let you take this.
Dirty Birds. 3 point favorite. Yeah, it's been as the headlines allude to here. Zach Berman, good Eagles writer. It has been a drama filled week this week. Lots of internal rumblings. You have to think AJ Brown is probably the biggest. Uh, they didn't put his name to it, but you have to think AJ Brown is up to his old tricks again, causing problems. I actually don't think it's going to matter too much. I think the Eagles will have enough here to win. Cowboys defense is still it's improved with Quinn and Williams coming onto the defensive line. They added Wilson as well at linebacker, who at least gives them some functional linebacker play. And they're slowly getting their secondary pieces back, the Cowboys. So I think this defense will uptick from where it's been, which is basically 32nd in the league across the board. However, I still think they're way away from that yet. So the Eagles should be able to put up 20 plus for the first time in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then this Eagles defense is ferocious. It's playing the best football I think I've ever seen them play. And that includes last year. And that should be able to help bottle up Dak. Not entirely. They'll put up points, the Cowboys, because they're a talented offense, but I don't think they'll be able to put up 20 plus. So, yeah, I think the Eagles take it on the road.
Yeah, the Cowboys struggling with some disciplinary issues themselves there, with both their top receivers having to sit out the first phases of the game last week, which is very bizarre. Like you said, they're improving. I think the Eagles have got a little bit too much for them. But I also agree those outside weapons could cause the Eagles some trouble. Whether it's enough to cover, I'm not convinced. I think that, like you said, the Eagles defense is just a bit too good at the moment. So I'm going to side with you there. Take the Eagles. Um, well, yeah, I don't know. I feel we're in for a close one there. Could be close.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm not as confident as I normally am.
Mm.
Yeah, all this internal discord is a bit concerning. 8-2, you'd think the ship would kind of be pointed in the right direction, but
Yeah.
seemingly not. Go Birds nonetheless. Hope for the best. Uh, right, Monday night football.
That's Sunday night.
Buccaneers.
It's a Monday morning for you.
Sorry, Sunday night fußball. Buccaneers head out to the Rams. Mayfield coming up against the coach that kind of reignited his career there.
Hmm.
How do you see this one, Thomas?
Oh. Yeah, let me I'll just have a look at against the spread here. Well, the Rams are sitting right top. They're 7-3 against the spread this year. The Rams, they're doing well to cover these. Um, Close one last week against the Seahawks, but are they 7-point favorites? Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Rams because the wheels are just falling off the Bucks a little bit here the past few weeks. I really didn't expect to see this big of a spread, but when you actually look at the recent Bucks performances, there's nothing to suggest they're going to be able to compete with that defense the Rams have put out there. And also some of the Tampa Bay defensive woes. People are able to run the ball on them a bit more these days. It's just a little shaky there. So I'm going to take the Rams to cover here. Although, having said, I was quite confident with my last few picks. I'm less confident with this one. This is it's a 7-point line, but it's an odd line for me.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I
I'm just
agree.
going to take the forms influence this for me. The Rams are in far better form than the Bucks, so I'm going to go with the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams are in better form, and I expect them to win the game. I just don't think it's going to be by 7 points. I still think the Buccaneers are a decent football team.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Bucks here to make it closer than the bookies think. So yeah, just a nice differ there. Not too much more to
Oh,
say. I
good.
think thought you made good points, but I still just think it will just be close and two good NFC teams squaring off. So yeah, I'll be really looking forward to watching that one on Monday morning.
That'd be nice. Yeah, nice one for me tonight as well. Well, you went 2-0 on Monday and Sunday against me last week, so let's see how you do this week.
Niners. Oh, can you tell Brock Purdy's back? It's
Whoa,
large spreads.
whoa,
Large.
whoa, whoa.
El Grande. El Grande. Uh, well,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I can't remember who we were talking about being Jekyll and Hyde. Probably the Jaguares, I think we were saying. I think the NFC version of that is the Carolina Panthers. You never really know what version of the Panthers is going to show up because Bryce Young threw for 450 yards last week against not an atrocious Atlanta Falcons defense. It was an inspired performance. I got to look at the all 22 of that one, and he played brilliantly. And you'd have to think it's probably on personnel alone. Falcons are more talented than the 49ers due to the 49ers injuries that they've sustained. Um,
yeah,
and I still think Brock Purdy, even though he probably is still an upgrade over Mac Jones. Sorry, he definitely is. That's too harsh. I don't know. Do they come in here and blow the Panthers away by 8 points plus? I don't know. I don't know. I think this kind of reminds me of like when the Cardinals every year the Cardinals go to San Francisco and they're always like a 10-point favorite and they always get a result there. And
yeah,
this feels like a bit like that where I think the 49ers maybe let's pump the brakes on this just because Brock Purdy's back. They're completely deficient on defense. So yeah, I think the Panthers have enough to keep this closer, despite the fact I think the 49ers will probably just about take it in the end.
yeah. I'm going to agree with you. I've just going back through the spreads here. Remarkably, if you take the Bills game away, the Panthers have covered every spread as underdogs since week two. And they've been underdogs a lot. So I'm going to go with that as well to influence it. I just think the bookies need to give them a bit more credit. They're a bit better than to be 7-point underdogs, the Panthers at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to side with you. We'll see what Purdy looks like. Seems like some internal issues there with Brandon Ayuk's guaranteed money being voided. Don't know what's going on there in San Francisco. That sounds like a bit of a bizarre storyline.
Yeah, I was reading about that in the week. So Ayuk has refused basically to show up for mandatory. Like he just hasn't been checking in with the team at all. It just sounds like he wants them to trade him. And at the moment, I think it's a bit of an impasse because they won't trade him. So
Yeah.
it's a very very funny situation. He's basically cost himself all of his guaranteed money with his crazy behavior. So yeah,
Wow.
a very odd one. And there's things like this with the Niners that never really get spoken about. Obviously, they get aired very publicly with teams like the Eagles, but the yeah, there's just something not quite right with the Niners. I don't know if Shanahan's ever going to get it together there.
Yeah, it's funny.
Might be that he's a great offensive mind and maybe not a great head coach, but we'll see. We'll see on that.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, well, that's I think we're both in agreement there. It's we're looking like a comfy cover at the moment.
Indeed, indeed.
Okay.
Right, we'll stop the share. We'll wrap this up. We have about 50 seconds here, so we've timed that quite nicely today. Gave a bit more insight than we have done in the last few weeks, I think, because we've gone on in time. But I thought there's some interesting games on there, and some of those
Yeah, that's one of
some
the
of those
better fights in a while, I think,
yeah,
overall.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely the later games on Sunday for once are watchable at least this week. So that should be good.
yeah, good.
All
Okay,
right,
well, we'll be next week and we'll see how we did.
all right, go well.
Oh well.